once again. How long has it been? All right. Oh man, it's always a pleasure to come back here to talk to you guys about what's important and to have a real conversation about what's happening in the world and what actions us Africans must take to make sure that we don't fall behind because we've seen a lot of events throughout history, and somehow the African continent always end up being at the bottom of the shell. So this time, I think it's time for us to stand up and take our place and also show our influence as well. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. So if you join in the chat, make sure to hit the like button and also let me know where you're watching from, okay? And then we'll go from there. So I'll hang around for a minute, maybe wait for one more or two more people to join the chat, and then we'll get this started. But in the meantime, I'll make sure to hit the like button if you're just joining the chat, and please let me know where you're watching from, and I will really appreciate it. Yeah, I know you guys, it has been quite a bit since I published a video on my channel. That is due to my new work schedule. You guys know that I got a new gig and I had to resign from my previous employer and the other side gig that I had because my schedule now where I work, it's kind of all over the place. Some days I work days, some days I work some weeks I work days, some week I work middle shifts. And I'm still kind of trying to adapt to the shift as I move forward. And I've been trying to figure out the best way to get the videos out on my channel so you guys can enjoy them. But in the meantime, you guys, there's a lot of things happening on the farm that I would love you to know. But I got videos that's cooking. I can't really make any promises at this point when the videos will be released, but I'm working on them. And if you guys know that the construction is taking place and it's should be complete in about 2 weeks, basically the bond project is complete. It's just some minor things that must be done before the complete, till the completion. Then I'll share the whole process with you guys, the calls and everything like that. Without further ado, let's go straight to the video because I'm not going to sit here and wait for people to join the chat. I'm just going to get this started. But if you happen to catch this video on a replay or you catch this video after it's published, well, just make sure you stick around and watch the video to the end. Maybe you'll find some value on this video. But without further ado, let's go straight to today's video. Okay, guys. Well, we've all seen the geopolitical shifts that's happening right now with everything from the Russia-Ukraine war and the emergence of China and all of that other stuff. So we've seen what United States have been doing since the I can't even talk. Since the Russia-Ukraine war started, right? So we've seen the West bombing Russia with all the sanctions in attempts to isolate Russia economically from the rest of the world. But this has backfired big time to where certain European countries turned their back. They wanted to go seek for oil and gas from other African countries like Nigeria. And there were even talks happening in the Congo. But these infrastructures really take a long time before even you're able to supply any energy to one of these countries. So their reliance on a Russian war oil is very, very strong. But we know United States has been the world hegemon in terms of currency, and the US dollar has been chosen as the world reserve currency. But then the United States have weaponized this and used it as a weapon against countries that did not, that did not play ball with them. And this has caused the United States to put sanctions on countries and cut them from, the SWIFT system and all this other international organization, making it impossible for them to stand out economically. So, in a lot of countries, and came out and stood out against these practices, because you cannot be weaponizing the dollar just because you want people to bow in front of you. But you have countries like Russia, and this is a good example for other African countries to learn from, is where, like, the weaker you are, the more vulnerable you will be. These countries, they will continue to bully you to where you really won't have anything to say. Look at the war that's happening in the Congo. In the east region of the Congo, Rwanda and Uganda, they do not have the military capacity to cause or inflict pain on the Congolese army, given the fact how big our country is, and how much money we have in, and our, you know ability to provide weaponry, the modern weaponry system to our army. But guess what's happening? It's getting blocked by the UN. Is getting There's just some other bull crap happening with that, right? But when you see things like this, it should teach you more to learn about the West. As we see countries like China, India, South Africa, Russia forming the BRICS alliance, right? Now we're seeing a lot of countries showing interest in joining the BRICS. This is going to undermine the United States dominance over the world, right? So now even certain European countries are starting to realize that these sanctions are benefiting America more than it benefit them. So look at people that live in Europe. So I feel bad for my brothers and sisters in Europe, because like the euro currency now is dropped dramatically. The UK pound is dropped dramatically, but the United States dollars is standing strong. You know why? Because they are trying to take the Russian markets away from them. They want to be the ones supplying gas and oil to Europe. But bad news is they're selling it 3 times more expensive than what they were getting from Russia. And now they're realizing that we're getting closer and closer to winter time. If we don't take actions quickly, we will freeze to death, right? But America will not come there to save them, because America is all about making money. America is like a big corporations. The only thing they ever care about is making money. So if you live in any part of the world and you have alliances with the United States, don't ever think it's true alliances, because look at it this way. How long have your country been in a diplomatic relation with America, and what your country looks like now? Most likely, still looks like crap, because America does not construct anything. America will come in, extract the resources, and make you sign contracts that will benefit them more. The moment you start to realize that it's been tricked, and you want to pull out of that, they throw sanctions at you. So that there's really no way you can survive without America being there. So now more countries are getting out of this submission of the United States, right? And more countries are trying to do better for themselves. They're accepting the U.S. sanctions, but in return, they want the freedom. So America's strategy is still, covered with colonialism. Their intentions is to make sure that the countries that do not have the strength to remain under their power, they remain under their words. So if you really you don't play ball with Americans, well, bad news. You're gonna end up like Iran, Afghanistan, or Venezuela, all of these other countries that cannot even do business with other countries, because they're put embargoes and sanctions on them where you cannot even do trade with them, which is pretty evil. But this is the way these people find it being more the strategies that they use to make sure that people remain submissive towards them, which is pretty, which is a shame. But hey, they have the power, they have the money, and now you have Saudi Arabia who's trying to, look out for themselves rather than serving the United States interests. You see what I'm saying? So it comes to a point where when you were bullied, people will actually stand up for themselves and make sure that you don't do the things that you're doing to other countries anymore. So countries now are starting to realize that America puts himself first. It could be called America and such alliance, America and such ally, but at the end of the day, America try to put themselves first above everything. And at the end, you will realize that they actually gain more than you have. And the moment that countries start to back away from them, it pisses them off. They try to find other arguments as to justify the reason why they want to send the military into the country to destabilize the country even further because they will try to get your natural resources by any means necessary. So now Africans now need to understand that listen, living in the West is good, but with the shifts happening geopolitically right now, it is a sign that you should take everything that you've ever learned, everything that you ever owned back to the motherland where you could grow while we see these shifts happening. Because if you don't do that, you stay here, you will watch the money crash and collapse right in front of your eyes while other countries are emerging. So you have to stay in tracks. If you don't do that, bad news. So then I came here to let you guys know that listen, we have the potential to do better things than we think we could do. We can handle a lot of things. We come from countries that, you know, have a lot of resources. We come from countries that have everything you could possibly need for your survival. But then we don't use them at its all potential. We somehow think by coming to the West is going to solve our problems. But when we get here, we realize how much we miss where we come from. The things that we, hey, how's it going? You know, got somebody from the chat from Berlin. You know, shout out to you and thanks for joining the chat. So listen, these things are very important. So we got to look at them very closely. Well, if you're an African living in the diaspora, it's always, you know, a smart move to think about going back to the motherland and start investing in, you know, various things. We need investors to change the narrative. I've always talked about this and I will never stop until more of you out there join people like me. When I tell you I receive emails, phone calls, people want trying to do business, people trying to learn more about the country, you never see that. And when I started this YouTube channel, I never thought one day I will be getting this correspondence coming from people who are not even directly from the Congo, but who have interest in doing business in the country. So now as Congolese, think about it for a second. You were born and grew up in this country. You left for opportunities. It's a free world. If you know whatever you're doing where you are is not working out for you, you can try other places. Everybody's allowed to do that. But once you get to a certain place and you see the potential that the country you come from present, do not hesitate. Come up with a plan and see what you can do to make things better where you come from. Because a lot of people that go over there to the we all go to the West and we appreciate the infrastructures that we see here. We appreciate everything that makes these countries great. But then sometimes we look at our countries, we start criticizing our politicians, which is, by the way, it's not a bad thing to do. But criticizing a politician is never going to change anything. A politician is a human being like you. They enact laws and they pass bills that only benefits business people. But if you're into business and you mean well, You could only influence politics by paying these House of Representative members or senators. That's simple. It is that simple, and that's how it works. Why do you think all these other countries are able to do the things that they do? Because sometimes they rely on their Congress to do things for them. If the Congress does not play ball with the business people in our country, after everything that they do, they always find different strategies to make sure they get exactly what they're looking for. But with money, you are able to change things and to turn things around. All I'm asking you to do is go out of your way and start to realize, like as we speak right now, that the country where we come from has way more potential than what we think it does. Because you'll be surprised how many people that are not from Congo who want to do business in the country. And someone like me, the mindset that I have, I welcome everybody. Everybody's welcome to come to the Congo and do business, conduct their businesses, as long as they have good intention and they do not have ill intentions like our neighbors Rwanda or Uganda who are always attracted by our natural resources, which by the way I don't believe with their own strength they'll be able to do anything. They only rely or depend on the major power or player out there in the world to back them with all the atrocities that they're causing in the country. Because if you leave a country like Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, trust me, we bomb the hell out of them, and the war will be done before even everybody hears about it. All right. So, in order for us to make sure that these things do not happen, it is important to start your investment. Because if you come to a country like America, it's more American business to dominate over any other foreign, living in America. So it's Americans first. They make it possible for Americans to start business, whether it is a small business or like giant businesses or whatever like that. So they always make sure of that. And that's the same thing we can do in Congo as well. I always advocate for more Congolese joining the force and doing business in the country. But this is never going to happen if we keep we're continuing to get more comfortable in the West, because the more we stay here, the more we are continuing to build these countries because we pay our taxes here. Me as a Congolese that moved to the United States after many years of living here, all my taxes are paid in the United States. The Congolese government does not take a dime out of my pockets in terms of paying in terms of paying taxes. However, there are other ways that I found and it works perfectly, that I can put money that I'm making here in America into the Congolese economy. That's why I started my farm. I started my business because I believed in it, and I still believe in it, and I'm pretty sure this is going to work out just fine. It's only a matter of being patient and actually collaborating with the people who have the same intentions as I do. And I will never mess around with people who are only there to discourage and tell you how horrible of an idea it is to conduct business in the country. Hell, you're free to do whatever you want. You want to take your business back to Europe, to America, to Brazil, whatever part of the world you feel comfortable, go about it. Feel free to do so. But I made my own decision, and I'm pretty sure that this is just it's going to work out. Okay, so this is why I always talk about agriculture, because I really don't see anything else. There are so many things you can do out there, but like the fact that I care more about living green and also protecting our planet. And the best way I can do that is by practicing agriculture. I'm pretty sure by planting more trees and within my farmland, it's going to make it possible to protect to combat the global warming. And so that's something that I'm doing. I got a bunch of trees growing within my farm, and it's working out just fine. My pig barn project is almost complete. Look out for the videos because really soon it's gonna come to your screen. But let me grab this live chat real quick, and I'll get back to you. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on? Thanks for joining the chat, man. It really means a lot. You're all the reason why I feel confident to come in front of the screen with whatever I can provide or deliver and talk to y'all. All right. So yeah, and I always appreciate you guys being a part of this channel. Mwatu Angoma. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Thanks for joining the chat. Listen, I'm telling you, about all these wars that is manipulated, we all gonna win this before it starts. I agree. I agree with that. I agree. Because we've already been victim for like more than 20 years now because these countries that are fighting us allegedly are basically backed by the West. So that's why they're doing the things that they're doing now. All right. Now, transparency is key, but it's hard to be optimistic that this will improve in the short term. Hey, listen, I do agree. Sometimes waiting is best to take to be in a better position to change things because what's happening in the Congo? It's got multiple layers. All right, so this has multiple layers because if you look at it, the involvement of some of our politicians is also making this war impossible to end anytime soon. If we are really serious about ending this war, we should start dismantling from within. Before we deal with the enemies that's outside of the borders, we have to start to dismantle them from within. If we can identify every single one of these guys that are either in communication with the outsiders and giving them our position, it's going to make it possible. The best way to win war is if you able to control the narrative that's happening inside of your country. If you can control that, it's going to be much more difficult. Listen, the West, they're the number one social psychopath that's ever existed in the world. All the atrocities that has ever happened throughout the history were done by Europeans, Americans, and so forth. They're the only ones that are always they have the longest history of violence, but then they're the ones that advocate for democracy, which is ironic. And they're the ones that supposedly stand for human rights. But at the same time, the things happening in the Congo, it is a better opportunity for them to really show what they stand for. But guess what? They don't even care. But at the same time, you have Sony, Samsung, all these, tech giants are there. They get all their resources from over there. You have Tesla today with electric batteries and everything else. It's coming from the Congo, the very same place where the most violent or the most bloodiest war since World War II ended is happening. And nobody is paying attention. You have countries like Uganda, who was ordered by the International Criminal Court to pay us reparations, right? You have countries like that because they have done bad in the Congo. But how can we explain it that the government wants to partner with the army of this very same country to come and fight the rebels that they personally fund? How ironic is that? You see the problem? That is a very serious problem. Listen, I believe in our government ability to change things around. But at the same time, there are things that the government also need to do from within to make sure that we identify our own enemy, who are some of our politicians who are involved in these conflicts too. There are Congolese politicians who own mining companies, who own mining industries in the country, who, by the way, fund certain rebel groups to make sure they protect their businesses because they're doing it illegally. The only way they get to protect that is by making sure that the country remains destabilized. Because the moment everything gets regulated and the war ends, that is the end of their business. That's when we will get true investors coming to the country, investing and doing business with us. As long as this isn't done, We are going to continue crying every day. But in meantime, that doesn't mean the war ends. The war doesn't end there. The war is happening in the east of the country. But now look how big the Congo is. I'm from Kinshasa. That's where I was born and grew up. Okay. I do not know anything about all of these other provinces. My parents are from Congo Central. I travel there when I get a chance once I'm in the Congo. But probably I would love to do business down there too. But I want to make sure I start where I came from first before I can jump on something else or some other places. Allow me to take a sip of this juice, and then I'll get back to you. So that's what every single one of us need to do. Wherever part of the Congo you're from, start your business there because we're only going to expand from there. Because business does not only exist in Kinshasa. You have Lubumbashi. We have Kisangani, Mbujimai, all these various beautiful places in the country. We can do good things over there, right? Start where you came from. Sitting here complaining, it's never going to resolve any problem. Listen, I'll tell you one story about myself. When I acquired my land, I wasn't even sure what I really wanted to do with it, honestly. And when I started building and see how much money I've spent, it got to a moment where I had to sit back and think about it for a second. I'm like, what if doesn't work out and all the money just goes to waste? But then I turned around, I looked at the opportunities this present, and I'm like, wait a minute, if I really, consistently remain in this and continue to do what I'm doing now, it's only going to pay off over time. That's why it's very important when you're starting a business to have patience. We're not like America or Europe or other, a first world country like they call it. They have this, bank, systems where you can borrow money and start a business and then pay them back later, which is in itself not a bad thing to do. But I feel like if you running on credits, it's literally not your money because think of it this way: a business can also crash. A business can also go wrong. Something may not work out. But if you've already taken a loan, guess what? You were stuck. You have to pay them back. They don't care if you succeeded or not. They only care about the interest rates that they're going to put once you take the money, and you're going to pay them back in 5, 10 years, period. You know, think of it this way, like a student loan. You go to college, you want to get a master's degree, a doctorate degree in whatever that you're interested in. You go to the bank, they get you a loan, all right? So you go, you study, you're all educated, you got your bachelor's degree, you put it the first thing, and somebody walk through your doors, that's the first thing they see is your bachelor's or a master's degree. Fine, bravo, keep going. But guess what? The bank doesn't care if you find a high paying job to pay them back. The moment you graduate school, you need to start paying them back. They don't give a crap. It's the same thing with doing business too. I took out a loan before myself in the process of, building the place before even I started my pig barn projects. When I was doing the fencing and everything, I had a couple of $1,000s saved, but I still needed, a few more thousand from the bank, which I did. And by the way, I'm still making a payment, but it's something that I was never proud of, but it got the job done. But I learned from it. I know it helped, and people told me how, much of an impact that played by just, fencing off my farm. And I really appreciate it, but I still believe I need much more sophisticated fencing around my farm. And that's another topic that we'll talk about it on the channel sometimes. But I'm still appreciative of what we've done, what we've accomplished so far. But that is not really what I really want the fencing on a farm to look like. But as we progress over time and when the farm start making more money, that's when we are going to look into that. But in meantime, as long as it's deterring, these animals from, what from intruding and messing up my crops or anything like that. I'm okay with that. So and now I know I have spent, a couple $1,000s in building this. And once the pig move in, I have more space to work with. I have now gained the confidence that I can purchase more pigs and move them onto the farm because they have a place to stay. Because I have a barn that is built, and that's going to allow me to use the money instead of using my own salary. All right, instead of using my own salary, I can now depend on the money that's being made from the farm, from the very same activities that I am engaged in. Then I can use the funds to finance other projects that I have going on the farm. Because don't get me wrong, when I sold my first pig, I couldn't believe how much money I made off of it. I was like, man, I need to mass produce this. I mean, I really have to continue to do this because I'm started to looking at these pigs, as like a really great business opportunities right there. Because whatever I make here, depending on how the business move forward, because we all have to agree upon one thing: you will never become rich working for somebody. I don't care what you do. Those of you that have been around, you know what I do for a living. I make decent amount of money, let's put it that way. But that's never going to make me any richer. It's only going to be sufficient to actually afford the lifestyle that I live. I'm one of those guys that like to keep it simple. I do not have like expensive tastes. I do not go out of my way to, make some crazy decisions because I feel like, well, I got a couple thousand I can do with this. Listen, the only thing on my mind right now is if I got like more than $1,000 in my bank account, I'm already thinking about what am I going to do with this money on the farm? What should I do next on the farm with this money? And at this point, I cannot really run out of any ideas as far as my farm goes because the pig project is going to be complete in 2, maybe 3 weeks from now. Then I am going to maybe I'll take a 1 month break or maybe two. Two is too much. Maybe 1 month break. It makes more sense. Then I'm going to move right on to start building the poultry farming, building the chicken house. I'm going to make sure that I build something that has the capacity to hold at least more than, I'd say, 10,000 birds in there. Because I have people who can make it happen and I've been in contact with them. When the time is right, I'm just going to, put the money where my mouth is and boom, we'll get things started. This is where my mind is. Where's yours? Just let me know in the comment section, please. Where's your mind is right now? Because my mind is on my farm as we speak, as I'm going live right now. The only thing I ever think about, what am I going to do different on my farm to make it better? What am I going to do from this point on to make sure that this doesn't happen or I make this happen? You know what I mean? So there is just always things happening because since I have, the idea to diversify the farm by bringing different animals, by building other houses for different sort of animals, because like the next is going to be the chicken shed, and then after the chicken shed I'm going to build like the goats house. After building the goats barn, I am going to build the lamb barn. So I might probably keep the lambs and the goats in the same space. Please gotta hit the like button. Nobody has hitting the like button. I appreciate you joining the chat, but you gotta hit the like button to trigger the YouTube algorithm. Because if we don't do that, then nobody ain't gonna see this video. If we want to take revolution, it is time to do so. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. All right. So that is one thing that is going on my mind as we speak right now. And for those of you that have been watching my channel for a little bit, right? Oh, that is a good plan too. Hey, you stick around, you work till you retire, and live your free life. Me, when I retire, I will be spending more time on my farm because by the time I retire, my farm, I'm pretty confident it will be making already a lot of money. and I'll retire on my farm because I will build a beautiful home inside my farm where I can wake up every morning. I'm looking at the animals, I'm looking at the trees, I'm looking at the gardens, and I'm looking at the forest and everything. That's why I'm planting all these trees to give it like a forest feeling type environment where I can live in peace and hear the bird chirping and everything like that. So everybody got their retirement plan. Hey, I'm happy with yours. If that's one thing that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. Listen, I understand that not everybody, right? I understand that not everybody is cut out for business. Not everybody's business oriented. I respect that. But for those of you that ever consider doing business in the country, it's never too late. Yes, the road will be bumpy, all right? So people will be discouraging. You will probably run into things that will make you reconsider your decisions. Don't give up. I've been there, okay? I'm at the position where I shouldn't even be telling you this, but I know what I've been through when I started this farm, and I know what it feels sometimes because it's not made for everybody. There are people who are going to complain. There are people who are going to have second thoughts. There are people who are going to be like, screw this. I'm probably just going to keep, working at my job and just, wait till my retirement. And there is nothing wrong with that too. But understand one thing, even in Europe or America or anywhere in this world, when you're starting out with business, especially if you don't have any training, or even if you had training, business has its ups and downs. Okay, I come from a family where my father was a businessman, my mom owned restaurants, my dad owned bars, hotels, and everything. But there were moments where like the bars wasn't performing well, and my dad relied on the hotel to back up the bar. And there were moments where like the grocery store that my dad owned was performing a hell lot better than any other business he had. And there were moments where like most of the businesses were like, weren't performing well, and he would have to go down to the farm, bring the animals, sell them, and put more money back into the businesses and everything. So that diversity made it possible for him to keep his money for as long as he did before he passed away. So I'm kind of like living by those principles too. Diversity is a way to go, because I'll give you one quick example. I have pigs now. In a couple of months from now, I will have chicken. Maybe in a year from now, I will have goats and lambs, or maybe dogs in the future. Who knows? If today I don't sell pigs, I can always sell chickens, I can always sell lambs, I can always sell goats. So that way you don't run out of stocks. There is always something available for you to sell and make money off of. That is the whole idea. And on the top of that, as you grow in business, you will find out more things to do. Maybe you get into like other domain of agriculture. Agriculture is so massive as hell. It's just so big that you will never run out of things to do. There are people who are only, growing fish. They're doing aquaculture. That is another thing that I find interesting, but you can't do it all at once. Depending on how the farm perform in the near future, we are going to look into these different things, because owning 25 acres, I'm pretty sure I have way more enough space to do most things that I have on my mind. All right. So that is one thing that I'm considering to do as well. So, and I really hope that most of you understand and also take the stands as well, because waiting around, it's never the best approach, because when you continue to procrastinate, that's when things never get done. Or I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it the day after tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to do it in a couple of days from now. But then it never gets done. And guess what? 1 year just went by for that one thing that you wanted to do. It never happened. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to early tomorrow to go for a run. You wake up tomorrow, no, I feel tired, I'll do it the next day. Then you wake up the next day, no, I do it the day after tomorrow. You wake up the day after tomorrow, you know what, let me just do it next week. 6 months later, you still keep getting fat and out of shape, you can't run for nothing. And guess what happens? You find yourself in a situation where you need to use your legs and run, but you can't really run for too long because your cardiovascular is crap. That is exactly what's keeping a lot of people from doing business. Let me grab this chat real quick. Oh, sounds good. Vertical farming is interests me. Also, specializing in heirloom vegetables. I actually heard about that, and that's a good approach to. That's a good thing. By the way, I'm in collaboration with this, new associate of mine, who have been talking to me about that. I know it's too early to get onto it. Like I said, I really want to master what I'm what I'm focusing on. Then after that, I'm gonna look into different things. But if you find values, or you have more experience on different area of agriculture, please feel free to share with the channel. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. My email address is on my channel there. Reach out to me. Let's talk business. I'm always open. Like, I've been in communication with a lot of people lately. That's all we talk about. There's nothing that interests me more than talking farming. Like, I can spend the entire day on my day off just talking to you guys about farming and doing things. So please let me know if you want me to come back, because I'm off on Friday and Saturday this week. So I'll be off 3 days next week, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be over the weekend. That's the good thing about this job, because like I have the luxury of having certain days off. Like on Thanksgiving this year, I'm gonna be off. So I'm off on Friday and Saturday. I'm off on Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, which is a good thing. So I'm really happy. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty difficult to do a live chat with you guys on the Thanksgiving day, because everybody will be so busy trying to eat that, trying to smash that turkey. I'm not gonna bug any of you, but I'll probably try to come up with something relating to farming that I'm going to release on the Thanksgiving day. Especially we're talking about turkey, which by the way is a product of agriculture. It's an animal from a farm. I might probably just come up with something more interesting to just let's see how it goes. But I can't reveal that now. But it's something that I have to come up with. Be a little more creative about that. All right. Let's go check the chat. I don't have much knowledge. Just interest. I worked in finance, specialized in emerging markets. You see, that is what I'm talking about. This channel, my focus on my channel is to talk about agriculture, but agriculture is just the one aspect. There is a lot that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? So like marketing and all these other things. Like I said, we cannot all do the same thing. There's somebody could be providing advice on marketing, how to put myself out there, or how to promote businesses and things like that, while others are doing business, because that is what you call networking. You network with the people that's going to help you succeed. Because if it was only farmers between farmers, we would never succeed. But farmers also needs other professionals in different areas to actually help them secure the farm and give them ideas on how to proceed and to make sure that the farm continue to run. So shout out to you, and I think that is a very noble and great area to be in. Yeah, I really don't see myself as a marketer, but it sounds pretty interesting. So congratulations to you, and I really hope that you have more success in what you do in life. But I appreciate you being a part of this channel and contributing in the chat and making this very interesting. That really means a lot. It goes straight to the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So again, remember that a lot of people are, Congo attracts a lot of people. A lot of people are wanting to come to the country to do business. But when we have Congolese in the country who do not see these opportunities, but I have friends who actually don't care as long as it means to make money. They go to different provinces to buy goods at a very cheap price, bring it back to the capital, and double the price, sometimes triple, and they're making money. You'll be surprised how much money you can make in a Congo. But I agree with infrastructure, better infrastructures is going to make things a lot easier. But the problem is, though, the government, how much the government is willing to do that so that people don't have to go through all these struggles, right? All right. So that's awesome, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you being a part of this channel, man. Listen, I'm all my goal here is to make sure that more young Congolese wake up and do the right thing. We cannot all be farmers like I mentioned earlier, but we can. I believe that we can all do something different. Look at the Chinese. Do you know how many Chinese scientists went to American universities here? When they graduate, guess what they did? They went back to China. Now China has got more, universities that the United States have. And in terms of scientists, like Chinese, apparently they surpassed the United States. A lot of people are now going to China to study science more than they used to come to America. So like the world is really changing. There are so many things that we can do around this world, but you just gotta learn. And sometimes I stay away from politics too much because politicians will have you believe that, oh, don't go to that country. Don't associate yourself with the Chinese or the Congolese or the Kenyans or Tanzanians. Don't ever listen to the government. All they do is to divide people. In the process, they're making money. They don't want you to go in certain country, but then when you go over there, you realize that they're the ones that are there doing business, but at the same time, they don't want you being there. How ironic is that? You know what I'm saying? So that is one thing that I find to be a little corny, but hey, the world is a better place, but the human beings are the ones who are making it such a living hell. I believe we could do something collectively to change that narrative. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Uh, I should be getting ready because my shift starts in probably 3 hours from now. So I need to start. I need to take a shower, get ready, and to rock and roll. So thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Make sure you share the video, like, subscribe if you have not already. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Peace.